You're dealing with payday loans, and those can be challenging. Those guys have high interest rates, they're aggressive collectors, and they love nothing more than to get you to roll them over and keep those loans forever, and sometimes even talking and taking on more and more and more of them. But there is a way out, and Family Credit Management can help you be that way out. First thing you have to do is realize you've got to stop. No more payday loans right now. Second, reach out and talk to one of our payday loan experts. We've got people at our organization, our credit relations department, that do nothing but deal with payday lenders every single day. And we'll attempt to work out the best options we can for you to hopefully and often get them to reduce or rebate back or write off a lot of that extremely high interest that they've been charging you. And that can be a real key to getting these paid off, because we've seen some that have interest rates over 1,000% APR. But you need to take control and realize, you know what, enough is enough. I need to get these done. I need to get them behind me. And there's not any real easy thing. And it is, more than any other type of debt, dependent on your individual circumstances, who the payday lenders are, how much you owe to them, how long you've had them, and what steps you're willing to take, and are you willing to play hardball with them like they're willing to play with you. But if you are, I can promise you that everyone at Family Credit Management will be there on your side, explaining to you what rights you have, what options you have, and how you can get these under control and behind you once and for all, and hopefully permanently. So just reach out to us, call right now, go online to our website and do the free quote and get the process started, and you will be out of payday loan debt once and for all.
Hey, welcome back. We're here another week with Family Credit Management, and I'm Letitia Griffin, your consumer advocate, and I am here for the next 30 minutes or so just to talk to you about any types of issues or problems that you may have regarding debt or credit issues, anything that you have questions on, problems with, any experiences you want to share, feel free to call. And the number's listed on the screen at 312-738-1060. Now, like I said, I'm only here for a few minutes, but if you've got other questions after that, or if you need to speak with a counselor, you can reach Family Credit at 800-994-3328. As always, I do want to just plug the chat feature that that's available on the Family Credit website. It's a great interactive feature. You can chat online with a counselor and get any questions answered that you may have. So if you don't feel comfortable speaking on air, you can always use that. And you can use it anytime to just ask any types of questions to the counselors and get the answers that you need and deserve. Over the past few weeks, we've been talking about overcoming credit challenges, and that's been a key issue, and we've got consumers that are struggling with that all of the time. So one of the credit challenges that we wanted to touch on is the payday loans. You've got so many people out there that are struggling with them and not knowing where they can go to get emergency funds, or they feel that they're in a bind and they're looking for some fast cash and they need it now. Now, payday loans, they have a vicious cycle though, so I do want to caution you to stay away from them. And that's why we bring them up here, because I want you to be empowered and educated about those things. Now, with the payday loan, what you're essentially saying is that if you give me this money right now, I'll pay you back in 2 weeks or a month's time. But payday lenders, they all charge so much in interest that it's not really even worth it to even borrow from. There's a payday lender out there that you may go in and you get $500 and you may think, okay, I'll be able to pay them $50 in interest, but that's just really getting your foot in the door, and you're thinking that you're able to handle it with that interest payment, and things quickly get out of control, and we see that all the time. So I do want to just tell you that if you need help with payday loans, you can contact a counselor at Family Credit at 800-994-3328, and they've got the knowledge and the experience, and they can help you out of that situation. So I do want to just go ahead and put that out there. If you've got those loans, you need help and you need advice on how to get out from under them, or even if you don't feel like you are able to talk to the lenders, that's what Family Credit's there for. With the payday loans though, a lot of people don't realize that it is a vicious cycle, and once you get one, you may need to get another one to cover that loan. So that's why it's not even best to get into it. A couple of things that you can do when you are looking for alternatives is talk to your bank. There are a lot of products out there in the banking industry that will help you get the money that you need if you qualify for it. So if you're looking for fast cash, that may be one of the options that you take. And again, you can contact a counselor and speak with someone about that in depth at 800-994-3328. Now, also, we're talking about fast cash, and I just wanted to let you guys know that you can go on the Illinois State Treasury's website and just do a search to see if you are available for any money that may be sitting out there and you haven't gotten it yet. That's a great way, especially in Illinois, to see if you got some money coming to you. And it's icash.net. That's the website you want to check out. And it's linked right to the Treasury Department. They will let you know if they've been holding funds for you. So I do want to throw that out there for you to actually take advantage of. Now remember, if you're in a situation and you want to get out, the number one thing that you can do, you need to take control of your situation by looking at where you are now. That's the first step you want to do. You want to admit anything that you're in. You want to look at your situation, look at your bank account, your credit cards, the payments that you're paying out, and then also think about your future. So we'll talk about that in a little bit as well. But you also want to look at a lot of the things that you're going through and try and get a feel for where you're at, and look at your credit report. Look at your monthly bills, and you want to go through and make sure that you can afford everything. That's a really big key in planning for your future and overcoming those obstacles too. You have to know where you're at in order to plan for it and to overcome and get through it, right? But it looks like we've got our first caller. Hi, welcome to the show. Hello? Hi.
Hi.
Did you have a question for us today, or were you calling to share with us?
Yeah, well, I received a 0% balance transfer offer for 18 months. Should I accept the offer?
Okay. Balance transfers are out there for a reason, and it's all about what your goals are when you're looking to do a balance transfer. If you do want to do a balance transfer, you should be able to do that and do it responsibly, because you don't want to get out of control with it. So if you're looking at a 0% offer, that's a great interest rate. But like you said, it's only for 18 months. So you want to take a look and see what happens in 18 months. You want to make sure that when that 18 months come, you have no debt left on that credit card. So that way you're not paying any interest at all. Also, if you're looking at doing balance transfers, you also want to see what type of fees are also involved with that balance transfer. Now, they may offer you a really great rate, but they may have some high fees involved in that too. So you want to know ahead of time and make sure that you get that in writing, or talk to the customer service department at the credit card companies, and just make sure you know all the ins and outs, because just because they say that it's 0%, it does sound really good, but you're not. You want to make sure that you know what you're getting yourselves into, and make sure that you've accounted for all of the fees, because sometimes they don't even disclose them all. So keep that in mind when you're looking at those offers. And with credit cards, you really do have to be careful, because credit cards, really, they do a lot. They go a long ways into defining who you are. And what I mean by that is your credit report. It's linked directly to your credit report. And your credit report is something that defines who you are nowadays. Everyone's looking at your credit report, and they want to know how you pay your bills. They want to know if you're reliable and if they can extend you credit. So it's always a good idea to know what your credit is, to know what your credit report looks like, and to make sure that you're keeping inventory of all the credit that you do have, and that you're looking at it daily or as often as you can to keep an idea of how you are and how you're managing your money. one of the things that I've come across and I've seen some people do lately, and I just want to make sure I talk to you about it, is that they are seriously ignoring their credit. And credit, like I said, is so important that you don't want to ignore your credit. And some people may think that it'll get better over time, or it's so bad right now I can't even look at it. But that's not the approach that we want to take when we're dealing with our credit. Looks like we've got another caller. Hi, caller. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, hi. My name is Bianca. How are you?
Good, and you?
I'm doing good. Thanks for answering my call. I got a
Good.
question for you guys. So I've got 3 credit cards with some balances. I've got a Citibank card, a Chase card, and I got a personal loan for $1,900. I'm trying to figure out what's the best way I could, the quickest way I can pay these off.
Okay. Now, when you're thinking about debt, the one thing that you want to make sure that you don't want to get yourself further in debt before you pay this debt off. So, what I want you to do is think about, like you said, you're trying to pay this off, and what are you making on them now? A lot of times, most people, when they pay their credit cards, they pay what's on the statement, or they look for their minimum payment. And that's what's needed for you to maintain your credit. But guess what? You'll never get out of debt by just paying the minimum payments. So what I want you to do is take a look at your budget. Now, this is going to go hand in hand because you have to work your budget correctly in order for you to get out of debt and pay those accounts off. And when you're looking at your budget, I want to see if you got any disposable income or any income left after you've paid your regular monthly bills. So not before you go shopping, but after you've paid your bills, see if there's any disposable income left. Now the next part is going to take discipline, because I want you to actually say, with what's left, what am I willing to dedicate towards my debt so that I can get out of debt? Now, anything over what you're paying, anything over the minimum that you will be using towards the debt, it's going to help. I mean, $5 and $10, it can go a long way in cutting down some of that debt. Now, you won't move as fastly as you want to, but you'll get some of it paid off. So you want to get that amount in your head, look at what you have, and now I want you to look at those accounts and figure out which one has the highest interest rate. You did mention that you had a personal loan. So that may be one that you want to tackle depending on the interest that you're being charged and the terms of that loan. When is that loan supposed to be paid off? And so you want to look at all the different scenarios, look at all the situations, see which way will it go. Now, if you pay off that personal loan, you can go to a financial calculator, and I do want to let you know, Family Credit's got some financial calculators available on the website. And you go to that website and get the financial calculator, plug in the amount that you are paying on the loans and the credit cards, and you can put in when you expect to pay them off, or you can put in the amount of the disposable income that you're going to be putting towards those debts, and that will give you a time frame. Another option for you is to contact Family Credit and look at debt repayment. See if you can see about getting on a debt repayment plan with those accounts. Now, if you're looking and you just got those 3, you think you can manage it, then go for it. But if you do need help, you can contact Family Credit, and a counselor can help set up a repayment plan, which will work to your benefit as well. So just think about those things when you're dealing with debt, you're dealing with credit cards, you're dealing with those balance transfers. They can get a little bit sticky. Dealing with credit cards, it can get a little bit out of hand. So that's why I want to educate you on this show and just give you more information for dealing with those. You know, when you're dealing with credit, like I said, it's always a funny situation because credit's a game, and the credit card companies, they want to make money, and they do these little tricks and nuances to get us to spend more and see how much money we can make them. You know, the credit card companies say that their best client is a client who has their credit card, who maybe misses payments once or twice a year, but after that still makes the minimum payment and still, uses the card. Why is that? Because now the credit card company's making money off of the interest plus the fees. Now, I remember years ago when I got my first credit card, and I did receive a Capital One account, $200 balance, a $200 spending limit, and I was really excited about that because you're young, you're trying to establish credit, and you go out and you use that card for the first time, and you keep it maintained, you're making your minimum payments, and you're excited about it. So what I did was I called Capital One and just asked them, hey, can you guys increase my credit limit? Because $200 is not a lot, and I am doing pretty good with this. And they told me, the credit card company said, hey, we don't do that. We're not able to increase your limit. You just got the card, 6 months, you're doing great. We appreciate you using it. So didn't think much about it. But a couple of weeks later, guess what happened? I got a new credit card in the mail as a way of rewarding me for doing good on this first account. They gave me a new credit card with $500 limit. So I'm thinking I've got 2 accounts, one for $200, one for $500, and I'm doing really good with that. But what I didn't know was that the credit card companies will use this as a way to get you to spend more. Now think about it. When you get a credit card, a lot of credit cards will come with an annual fee, right? And then there are some that come with a lot of different interest rates. So you want to make sure that you know which one you're getting yourself into, because this annual fee sometimes will sneak up on you. But just think about these 2 credit cards that I have. What was the difference between the credit card company actually increasing my limit to $700 or them giving me another credit card which made me have $700 in credit? The difference was that if something goes wrong, the more money they will make. So if something goes wrong on my account and I'm not able to pay it, that's a $35 late fee right there. And I'm sorry, and then if I can't make the payment, that late payment will take me into an over limit fee. That's $70. But just think about it. I've got 2 accounts now. So now my $35 fee that I could have had with just one account, I'm actually paying 4 times as much just between those 2 accounts. And that's the vicious cycle of credit cards. So you want to make sure that when you're looking at credit cards, you're thinking about getting credit cards, you're looking at your portfolio of the credit cards that you have, you want to always make sure that you are able to afford the minimum payments. And that's one of the things that you can do when you're managing your credit, when you are trying to do better with your credit. Make sure that you can actually afford the credit that you have and know what your limit is, because it takes your own personal discipline in order to determine what you should and shouldn't be doing with credit. You don't want to let things get out of hand, so you want to make sure that you can always afford that minimum payment. And if possible, look at your budget, look at your disposable income, and see how much more you can pay towards that, because that's what's going to get your balances to go down. So we've been talking about credit for a little bit. Just want to make sure that I throw these tips out there. Of course, we know you should always avoid late payments or missing a payment. Pay close attention to that, because those fees will really rack up. But just a little tip with the credit card companies, all credit card companies have the ability to waive a late fee. So if you, let's say something happens and you missed the due date just a little bit, or you were almost there and you weren't able to make that payment, when you do make it, you can ask the creditor to reverse the late fee as a one-time courtesy. Now that's something that a lot of times they'll do at their discretion, and it really does depend on who you get on the phone. But if it's your credit card company, you've been with them for years, and you haven't really done this before, most likely they will go ahead and do that for you. Make sure that, like we said, make sure that you budget for those payments, and keep that in mind. Also, I want you to budget for yourself so that you don't have to use those credit cards. You want to make sure that you are able to plan for those things that come out of the blue, and those things that we don't really think about, or even those times that we're in the store and we splurge. You want to make sure that you stay away from those, so try not to use your credit. Make sure you know how much money is in your wallet and use just that. Set aside, you can even set up your own allowance. I know we've been talking about things for the kids, but you can put yourself on your own personal allowance and hold yourself accountable too. That way you're not spending any more than you set in your budget. Another thing I want you to pay attention to with using credit cards is high credit utilization. That's really huge nowadays. And when you're dealing with your credit report, a lot of times you've got those lenders out there that will just give you a huge credit line. And you're not really realizing that if you use it all, it does affect your score. If you've got a $5,000 credit card, and anytime you go over half of that credit limit, it will damage your score. And it'll do it significantly, and it will take you some time to rebuild from it. So if you just stay under the credit limit, you really have no worries. Rule of thumb, if you stay anywhere, let's say the people that are most successful or that they have the highest credit score, they stay under 7% of their credit limit. And you may think that that's not enough for you to work with, but you've got to make your budget work so that you can afford to stay under that credit limit and keep your credit strong. That's really going to go a long ways in helping. Another thing, when we're dealing with credit obstacles, I want you to think about those things that come out of the blue and you're dealing with credit report. And a lot of times when you're looking at your credit report, collection accounts can sneak up on you in the blink of an eye. You think that you're doing good with your credit, you're watching your credit, you're being diligent, you're making your payments, you're making them on time, you're paying things off, and your credit's going great, and then guess what happens? A collection notice, or you get a phone call from a lender, from a creditor, saying that you owe them money. And we'll talk about that in a second too, because that happens a lot. Looks like we've got another caller. Hi, welcome to the show.
Oh, hello. I'm calling because I opened up a credit card about 6 months ago, and it was actually the first credit card I've ever had, and I kind of got it just to build my credit for the most part, but the interest rate is like 25%, and I feel like everything goes towards the interest. So I was wondering, is there anything I can do about that, or any way I can get them to lower that for me?
You were struggling with what a lot of people struggle with. When you go out and you get that first credit card, a lot of times because it's your first card or even a card after you've been rebuilding your credit for some time, you open yourself up because a lot of times that credit that you get is at a higher cost. You can have a higher interest rate or a high annual fee. So those are things that you want to watch out for. But it's also good to know your credit card companies too. You can contact your creditor and ask them, what can you do to get your interest rate lowered? Sometimes they may have a waiting period, and sometimes they may do things differently. But then there are some creditors out there who you've got their high interest credit card, you signed up for it, and that's what you're going to stick with. But don't want you to do that. Now, you've got this credit card to rebuild and to strengthen your credit. So you got it for 6 months, but it may be time for you to look at getting something else. Now you can get another credit card at a lower interest rate. One of the things that you can do is go to bankrate.com. Bankrate's got this really great calculator, and it's like a credit card calculator where you put in exactly what it is that you're looking for. So you put in that you're looking for a low interest rate, and there you will give you the best cards that you may qualify for that. And they've got a lot of great ideas. So you want to look at that. Look at the card. Select the one that works best for you. Now, if you don't want to switch credit card companies, I understand that. Because a lot of times they're saying that, keep in mind with your credit report, you don't want to close out an account. That's a huge thing. You don't want to close an account. But if you've only had that account for 6 months, and you are able to get another card, that may be something that you want to do right now. But just realize, hey, my score may fall a little bit because I've got this new account and I'm closing out this old account. But 6 more months, it'll be back to normal. So you want to keep that in mind and just know that with each decision you make, it does affect you. There's an opportunity cost for everything. So you want to make sure that you know what it is and keep that in mind. When you're looking at the different credit cards, like I said, Bankrate is a great way for you to go. If you've gotten problems, or if you've got problems, you can't manage your credit cards, you're having problems with collection agencies, you're having problems with your debt, talking to a counselor, Family Credit, will help. They can work out a personalized budget plan for you. They can sit down and go over your creditors and let you know what they will do for you as well. So looks like we are just about out of time here, so I do want to let you know that you can contact your counselor at Family Credit at 800-994-3328, or go online, use that chat feature, and just ask those questions that you've been calling in with. Feel free to ask those to the counselors, and they are able to provide you with so much information and so much good advice that will actually help you and better your situation. So it looks like we've got one more show that we'll wrap up next week. We're going to be talking about overcoming credit challenges, putting all of the information that we've gone over in the course of the week. We'll be putting that together and wrapping up here. So you have a good evening, and we will see you next week.